Today we're going to be making this very simple baby beanie, and this is great for a baby that's about 1 year old. And for our beanie, I am working with some size 4 medium weight wool yarn by the Cascade yarns. I'm also going to be using a size G or 6 or 4 1/4 millimeter crochet hook. And you will need a stitch marker, safety pin, or scrap piece of yarn for this. And we're going to begin with a magic circle. So take your tail and drape it over your working yarn and pinch that intersection. From here, we're going to yarn over and pull through our loop and then separate our loop out like this. We're going to start with a chain 1 and a single crochet inside of our magic circle, and then we want to add 11 double crochets to that magic circle. And make sure that when you're placing these stitches, you're working in your loop as well as over your tail. And once you have your 12 double crochets in place, tighten the gap in your magic circle. And I am going to leave my tail out so that I can attach a pom-pom. And we want to start in our single crochet stitch, so we're going to place 2 double crochets here. And this will create a spiral pattern, so we need to go back and mark our first stitch. And from here, we're going to place 2 double crochets in each stitch until we make it back to our stitch marker. So we should have a total of 24 double crochets when we're done. And when you make it to the end of your row, you can remove your stitch marker. For our next row, we're going to be placing back post stitches, and we're going to start right here in our first double crochet. So we're going to yarn over and then insert our crochet hook between our last and first double crochets. We want to insert it from behind though. That's what makes it a back post. Then we want to insert our crochet hook between our first and second double crochet like this. And it helps to turn your project over so you can see what you're doing. From here, we're going to yarn over and pull through our post, and then yarn over and drop 2 loops at a time to complete our stitch. We're going to go back and mark that first stitch. In our second stitch, we want to place 2 back post stitches. So after you place your first back post stitch, you want to kind of place the second one on top of that first one like this. So from here, we're just going to alternate between placing 1 and 2 back post stitches going around our row for a total of 36 back post stitches. And at the end of your row, you can remove your stitch marker. For our next row, we're going to place 1 double crochet in our first 2 stitches. And don't forget to go back and mark your first stitch. Then we want to place 2 double crochets in our third stitch. And we're just going to repeat this pattern going around our row for a total of 48 double crochets. And at the end of our row, we can remove our stitch marker. And the pattern for our next row is to place 1 double crochet in our first 3 stitches, and then 2 double crochets in our 4th stitch. And we're going to repeat that going around our row for a total of 60 double crochets. And at the end of your row, you can remove your stitch marker. And from here, we are going to place 1 back post stitch in each stitch for our next 2 rows. And don't forget to mark that first stitch, and each row should have a total of 60 back post stitches. And at the end of your 2 rows, your beanie should look something like this. From here, we can remove our stitch marker, and we're going to place 2 rows of double crochets. Once you have your 2 rows of double crochets, your beanie should start to look more like a beanie. From here, we're going to place 3 rows of back post stitches. And from here, we want to place 2 more rows of double crochets, then 3 rows of back post stitches, and then 2 more rows of double crochets. And once you've added your rows, then your beanie should look something like this. From here, we need to taper our spiral down, so we're going to place 1 single crochet in our next 2 stitches, and then 1 slip stitch in our next 2 stitches after that. Then we're going to cut our yarn, tie it off, and I'm going to weave my tail in and out of my last row of stitches and then up the inside of my beanie. And I went ahead and attached my crochet pom-pom to this, so I will link to the tutorial for this pom-pom in the description for you. Please let me know in the comments below if you ended up making this beanie. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel, Crochet with Julie. Thank you so much for working with me, and I hope you have a wonderful, awesome day.